Hello, I hope you are doing well wherever you are and whenever you might be listening to this. As you could probably already tell, I am not Jim Porter, I am Dustin Edwards, um, and today I'm going to be talking to you about teamwork and more specifically communicating in virtual teams and some of the issues that arise in working and collaborating and communicating in virtual teams. All right. Um, so when I look through these readings, I see a few key issues that stand out. First is how to manage projects, kind of what model you want to follow, or what kind of combination of model you want to follow. How to negotiate social and interpersonal aspects of working in small groups. Um, and these are, of course, slightly different in virtual interactions, virtual teamwork. So knowing kind of what to expect from the outset is always good practice. Um, Highly important to virtual teamwork is considering how to choose and how to use the best technologies for particular jobs. I'll be talking about that in more detail throughout this presentation. Um, One thing that I think is highly important, but I'm not going to talk about today, is attending to global communication concerns. I know Jim's going to work on that extensively in another module, and it's kind of going to be related to a project you're doing in this class, the Global Communication Team Project. And all of what I'm going to be talking about in today's presentation, just be kind of thinking in the back of your mind how these issues and how these kind of tips can relate to building and sustaining a successful team in the project you're doing for this class. So before we begin, just thinking about how teams function, think back to the Killingsworth article, um, establishing roles, procedures, and structures for how teamwork will be completed. So there's the division of labor model. It's more hierarchical, specialist driven, it's more rigid and prescriptive. And then there's the integrated team model. It's more people oriented, focus on cooperation, um, kind of let small teams manage themselves. And I think in many ways we are experiencing more and more integrated teams and not this division of labor that Killingsworth talks about. Um, so approach to actually managing the work, how to complete tasks, when to complete them, who you're going to complete them with. The professional writing textbook mentions a few approaches to managing work. Divide and conquer approach, so assigning chunks of work to different people. So one person takes one chunk, another person takes another, and the third takes the last, and kind of compiling those on their own, doing those on their own, and then bringing them together at the end. So of course this is quicker up front, probably less stressful up front, because you can work on your own pace, given time considerations. But then at the end, it's going to be a little bit more time consuming than the next approach I'm going to talk about, just because you have to make everything more stylistically coherent. Then there's the shared documents approach. And I think we can almost think of this as a happening, collaborating live in the moment kind of approach. So working on documents together, and I picture working on a Google Doc, and setting aside 2 hours or 3 hours, and having 4 or 5 group members participate in that Google Doc and write and edit and leave comments and back and forth. I think this is the shared document model that we live in today. And of course, this is more time intensive, so it takes more time for 5 people to kind of get their thoughts and get their voices heard. But in the end, it saves time on the back end of things because you're not having to kind of go through and edit for style and that sort of thing. And I think there's also a combination of these two approaches. So maybe dividing some work to where individuals will work on it, and also doing the more live collaboration approach for one particular aspect or two particular aspects of a job or work. And then, of course, if you're working with a small group of, let's say, 6 people, you can always divide the group among the 6. So 2 take one aspect, 2 take another, and 2 take a third. And again, going back to how you want to negotiate how work's done. So do the 2 people divide work among 6 people? Do 2 people, do those get to determine kind of the rules and expectations for their work, and how that gets sorted out? And I think this all leads to this, this slide. So it's important to follow norms or set norms. So a lot of times in organizations, these will already be predetermined. For this project, it's good for you and your team members to get on the same page. And I think key to that is knowing your responsibilities and knowing what's expected of you, when work's going to be done, when you will work on things collaboratively, kind of what model you want to maintain. Develop a thorough plan of processes, procedures, and structures from the start. So I think this whole first part of what I've been talking about leads to this bullet point. This plan is key for starting any successful teamwork collaborative project. Another key issue involved in teamwork are the social issues that arise, the interpersonal dynamic that happens in small groups. So interaction in virtual space, first off, is different than in face-to-face communication. So how do you maintain and sustain relationships without nonverbal cues, without face-to-face social interaction? So if you're not walking by people's offices and seeing a smile, you might get the wrong idea about somebody not using an exclamation point when they're talking to you and thinking that they're mad at you. I think when thinking about maintaining healthy social relationships in a virtual space, I kind of go back to one of the first modules that we did in this course, and is thinking about emphatic communication principles and treating people with respect and kind of maintaining and building that relationship from the outset is key. Also something that came up in one of the readings, and I thought this was a really kind of telling graphic of what makes a good virtual teammate. One who shares information, one who's engaged, one's collaborative, organized, social skills, good social skills, provides useful feedback, and offers assistance to teammates. And it's interesting how this is kind of distributed. Another aspect of teamwork is technology. So using the right combination of technology for the job. I think a key question that you should ask throughout is, what are you going to be doing? So if it's collaborative writing and editing, well, I'm going to say that Google Docs is probably the best bet for your technology. If you're kind of doing more divide and conquer approach, maybe just cloud storage is fine for you. Having a Dropbox folder or a Google Drive where you can all upload your individual documents, maybe that works out. If you need to set up times to have conversations, have back and forth exchanges, maybe video conferencing is the way to go, setting up Skype or Google Hangout. Google Hangout will probably be best if you need multiple people. If you need to model or facilitate something, show other teammates a specific aspect of something you're working on, you might need to use a screencast technology like Screencast-O-Matic or Jing. Brainstorming, Google Docs might be something to do, or again, Google Hangout. If it's something like simple back and forth communication, it's important to know where and how to do that. So if you're going to do that through email, or if you're going to set up some open IM times, or communicate via phone, whatever you decide to do there. Something that I think is important in working in teams and collaborating is distributing your risk of losing files, because we all know that wonky things can happen with technology. So save your files in multiple spaces, especially first on your hard drive, but also upload something to Dropbox and put it also in Google Drive, just to kind of make sure everything's protected. Okay, to recap, I think it's important to have a clear, unified, and detailed vision from the outset, and have all team members agree to that vision and kind of be on the same page and have no ambiguity. Set and stick to deadlines. Make technology work for you. So don't use something just because it's trendy or branded for a particular job, but make sure it's doing the right job. Make sure it's doing the right, or it's what you want it to work for you. Distribute risk, so have files saved in multiple places. This, I think, is simple but important, so check in regularly. Have assigned meeting times, but also be flexible and be open to checking email at multiple times a day, and having IM sessions and that sort of thing. And like the most important thing for being a good virtual teammate, share the progress that you're making, share the challenges that you're having, share particular questions you have. I think that's very important. And of course, all of this can be applied to teamwork that you do outside of this class, but particularly think about it for this assignment that you're going to be doing, this global communication team project. All of the readings are meant to help you organize your team and get your team rolling on this project. So I've enjoyed talking with you all. I'll be lurking some more on Google Community, and I will see you around. Thank you.